guys, welcome to Jay's Juke Joint. Today is World Cocktail Day, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to introduce you to one of my all-time favorites, the Mai Tai. Now the Mai Tai is a classic tiki cocktail that dates back to the early 1940s, and there's a bit of controversy as to who originated this drink, but the popular belief is that Victor Bergeron of Trader Vic's Polynesian-themed restaurant here in California was the original creator of the cocktail, the Mai Tai. He did have a friendly rivalry with Don the Beachcomber, who also owned a similar chain of restaurants, and he claims that he invented the drink back in 1933. Nevertheless, it's Trader Vic's recipe that stood the test of time, and when you enter a bar or a restaurant and you order a Mai Tai, typically the bartender is going to ask you, or should ask you, would you like a classic Trader Vic's Mai Tai, or would you like a Hawaiian style Mai Tai? Now the reason they'll ask you that is because Trader Vic, when his recipe became so popular, he went to the Hawaiian Islands and he collaborated with some of the bartenders at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel, and they created the Royal Hawaiian Mai Tai, which later became, the signature cocktail of Hawaii. You probably are more familiar with that cocktail because, it's what you drink when you go to Hawaii. When you sink your feet into the white sand and you have that colorful, exotic, tropical cocktail, Mai Tai, that's the Hawaiian style. Now, I'm going to get into both, but I'm going to split them up into two videos. So this first video, we are going to focus on the classic Trader Vic's Mai Tai. And I'm going to do the best I can. I mean, the truth is, you can't even get your hands on the original ingredients in the Trader Vic's Mai Tai. He used a 17-year Rand Nephew rum, which is discontinued. So that's one thing. He also used a rock candy syrup. I'm going to use a simple syrup, but just a small amount, and there's really no difference. And then there's a few ingredients which kind of stray away from my previous pandemic cocktails that I shared with you. They're not as easy to get, but they're easy enough to get. For example, Orgeat. This is an almond flavored simple syrup. And I would tell you to make it, but it's really not that simple to make. And I've tried countless times, and I've made some good versions of it, but it is not, like I said, that simple to make. So, Liquid Alchemist, which is, again, this brand here. This is from a guy here in Los Angeles. It's a great brand. No high fructose, no corn syrup. Small Hand Foods is another great brand, a little more expensive, but you can order that online. Sometimes you can find it in a Bevmo or a Total Wine. And I'm going to still use a Jamaican rum, and I'm going to use a Barbados rum for a little float on the end. So it's going to be a slightly different variation. The other ingredient that's important is the orange Curaçao. Now that is a dry orange Curaçao. It's kind of like a triple sec, but a little more dry. And that's going to be in both of these Mai Tais. So you can get that again at like a Bevmo, Total Wine, Wade's Warehouse, something like that. Alright, now, we are going to build it in a mixing glass. And it's important to have crushed ice. So we talked about crushed ice before. You can make this if your refrigerator doesn't produce it for you. But luckily mine does, so I'm going to go ahead and build it right in here. And we're going to start with 2 ounces of Smith & Cross rum, right? So it's a Jamaican rum, very similar to the Rand Nephew aged rum. And I'm going to do 2 ounces, just like that. So I like mine a little sturdier. I like my cocktails a little sturdier. I think originally his called for 1 ounce of this and 1 ounce of that. We're going to go 2 ounces of that rum. We're going to do 1 ounce of fresh lime. Again, I like my cocktails a little more tart than sweet, and I think that's pretty popular these days. We're going to do just a ½ ounce of this Orgeat, which really goes a long way. Orgeat is a great ingredient to have in your home bar or what have you. And then a ½ ounce of the dry orange Curaçao. So just a ½ ounce there. And lastly, we are going to do 1/4 ounce of simple syrup. You don't need a lot of that. Don't want to over sweeten this cocktail, right? Then we're going to shake it up, and we're going to give it a decent shake because we really want a little bit of dilution here. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little float of this Mount Gay Black Barrel. It's a little bit darker. It's not the darkest rum, but it's a nice little float on the top, just like that. And I'm going to garnish it with a mint sprig. And, whoops, and a lime wheel. So there you have the Trader Vic's Mai Tai. Now let's give it a try. Oh, that's good. And I've been waiting for this all day, so I'm going to have this. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to shoot this Hawaiian style Mai Tai. A little different, both fantastic. And both will take you out of the pandemic and put you someplace where you want to be. All right? So you guys have a great night, and I'll see you soon.